Oh, mate. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so obviously there was no video over the course of the last couple of weeks, obviously. Kind of taking time out for myself as well, which obviously is needed for everybody. Get your break as and when you need it, people. It's a lot going on. So it's always good to obviously get your head sort of straight before you go and do anything else that is worth focusing on. However, Premier League is back. We're back tomorrow, actually, funny enough. We've got one of those weird weeks where we've got Premier League games pretty much every day from tomorrow up until the weekend. We'll obviously get into Matchweek 21, which obviously was a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, back then, over a stretch of about 10 days, you had Premier League games, and then obviously mixed in with that, you got the Carabao Cup and then the FA Cup as well, which is obviously the weekend of this now. So we'll get into the Premier League games for match day 21. We'll start off at Turf Moor. That was Burnley 1, Luton 1. Really decent game from Luton from what I remember of it. I did actually watch the game, and Luton actually played some really good stuff. Just up top, they do need to be a bit more clinical. Same thing could be said for Burnley, to be fair, but I always thought Luton were the better team. I think I said Burnley may actually nick it by the virtue that they were actually at home. And almost did. Obviously, Luton got a really late equaliser through Carlton Morris after a claim on a foul by the goalkeeper. And we're going to get into goalkeepers a bit later on because I don't agree with some of the decisions that have obviously been made by some of the officials. It's a bit of a grey area for us at the moment. But that ended 1 apiece. A really decent draw for both. I think both teams are going to struggle second half of the season. I do hope that Luton have enough to obviously stay up. I don't believe Burnley have enough to do it either. So watch this space. West London derby at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. Didn't watch the game. I'm going to be honest. I thought Fulham would do a lot better than what they have done. And ever since this result, Fulham actually haven't done anything of note. Carabao Cup obviously got knocked out of that. Got knocked out the FA Cup as well recently against Newcastle. League form is obviously, just they are where they are. As for Chelsea, have been in a good run of form at the moment. Obviously made the Carabao Cup next round. Are they still in the FA Cup, Chelsea? I think they're still in the FA Cup as well. So still fighting on all fronts, so to speak. Obviously got Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final as well. They are still in the FA Cup. They drew 0-0 with Villa, so that's a replay. But good win for Chelsea. They're starting to put together a bit of a run, especially at home. I think that's their 8th game unbeaten now. Don't think they'll do anything with regards to the top 4, but I think they should soundly be in the top 8. If we're being realistic, Fulham will stay in the league, but obviously will be sort of lower echelons of the league. We're talking about sort of 14th, 15th by the end of this season. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 3. That was from the St James's Park Stadium, Newcastle Stadium. Great game. I was actually in Costco at the time when this game was actually happening, so I didn't actually watch it or see it, but I obviously know the incident, what happened, Kevin De Bruyne's return. Newcastle second half were excellent. This is the Newcastle I expect to see week in, week out now. And I thought Newcastle gave a really good account of themselves, as I always thought they will at home, but up against a superior team like Newcastle, like Man City, sorry, who do like to get on the ball and like to play. Midfield is ridiculous. The midfield is ridiculous. They can literally put in any partnership in there and that midfield will just work. It outworks every single team in the Premier League at the moment, which is a problem. Because if you can stifle Man City's midfield, there is no creativity there. But when you bring the main don on, De Bruyne, then it's problems. It is curtains. Because that man can find you from absolutely anywhere. Got on the score sheet himself as well, which is always welcome. And Newcastle, they tried to stop it and couldn't. They're in a really horrible run at the moment, Newcastle. I do see them falling out of the top 6 this season. Manchester City obviously are going to be my winners. It's just the transitions that Man City have. That midfield that is so balanced. It is so good. It gets so much creativity up to its front men. And the front men do eat, even without Haaland, who is on his way back as well, to my understanding. On to Goodison Park, Everton 0, Aston Villa 0. Not much to say about it. That kills Aston Villa's streak at the moment. I think Aston Villa had scored or was involved in a game that had a goal all season in the Premier League, and that was effectively ended by Everton this weekend. Really good game. 2 goals disallowed. not much else to say about it, to be quite honest. Two of the sort of classic Premier League teams, if you like, put on a classic with no goals, which is, sometimes what you get with really, really good 0-0 games. Both teams will be safe, even though Everton did have that 10-point deduction. Aston Villa, they're fighting for a Champions League spot, which I don't think they'll get. I do think they'll end up finishing 5th this season. They'll be the Newcastle of last season and sort of tail off near the end. They are still in Europe as well, so I don't think they've got a squad to stretch. Man United 2, Tottenham 2. That was from Old Trafford. Obviously, my beloved Spurs. Really, really decent form at the moment. Could be a lot better. Got a lot of players coming back, obviously. And once we're back up to full strength, everyone's obviously back up to full fitness, will be a force again. I have no doubts about this. Manchester United do look atrocious, though. And it is only because they're at home. They obviously managed to get a couple of goals on the break. First goal, quite fortuitous in how it fell to Højlund, but he did very, very well to finish. Completed it. Left foot finish right into the sort of top corner. This in the first sort of 3-4 minutes of the game. Richarlison obviously equalising from a corner. Really, really well-placed header. And then we had Marcus Rashford, a goal set up by Højlund. Again, a little bit of good fortune. A great finish again from Marcus Rashford. I think that's his first game in about, was it 6 months? Old Trafford? Is that right? Something along the lines of that. I saw some mad stat anyway. It was something along the lines of that. And then obviously Tottenham with the equaliser, 46th minute, Rodrigo Bentancur with a fantastic finish after really good work from Werner on the left-hand side. Worry a bit for Man United. If yesterday's result as well as anything to go by way of the FA Cup, then they are in big, big, big trouble. I know they won the game. You're expected to win a game against a team sitting 16th in League 2. But your success is obviously how you perform in the league, and their league performances haven't been good. But a really good point for them. Tottenham, I think we're finishing in the top 4. Anything else after that is the bonus. There isn't really much else anyway. I mean, out the Carabao Cup, recently got knocked out the FA Cup on Friday by Manchester City. So that's just kind of where we stand at the minute. We're just fighting for the league. So one game a week, full strength team. We'll put another run together, go on another sort of 10-game run where we don't lose a game, and I think we'll be in the top 4 quite comfortably, actually. Speaking of top 4, Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 0. Arsenal will not be winning the league this season either. I do see them in the Champions League spot, so whether it's above Tottenham, I do not know, but it's one of those that they don't have a clinical finisher in the squad, a clinical striker, should I say. And Gabriel Jesus, obviously, in. Martinelli is very, very in and out. Bukayo Saka is another one that's very... So it's a difficult one for them. They play really, really good football. Don't get me wrong. And it's very, very difficult for me to say that because of who it is. But they don't have that cutting edge to go on a run to, really put pressure on Man City and Liverpool. I just don't see it happening. I see them in the top 4. I think they'll finish about 3rd or 4th. And then, they'll fight out with Spurs for the 3rd and 4th slots again. But a good win for them nonetheless. Crystal Palace were atrocious. We won't speak about them. They were missing a few players, but that's no excuse for the beating that they took at the Emirates. Brentford 3, Nottingham Forest 2. That was the return of Ivan Toney, who scored with a really, really good free kick. Not sure if you lot noticed it. They probably showed it a million times on the internet now. The way he took up the referee's spray and then obviously moved it about sort of 3-4 inches to the right for an easier angle to drop the ball into the back of the net, which he did with aplomb. Really, really good free kick. Really good game from him in general. Believe he set a goal up as well. I think he set up the 3rd goal for them also. So really, really good appearance from him after being banned, obviously, for 9 months for the betting allegations and things like that. So good to see him back. Nottingham Forest, they do cause you problems. I just don't feel like they cause you enough in the game. Obviously, they did get 2 goals. Really, really good goals they scored as well. But ultimately not enough. Defensively, clearly not there. And they will need to fix up quite soon because they are quite close to the bottom of the Premier League. It's quite precarious for them at the moment. And they need to pick up points quite quickly, I would say. But really good win for Brentford, and that propels them up the table, just above Nottingham Forest as well, I might add. So really, really a valuable win for them. Sheffield United 2, West Ham 2. This game had everything. literally everything. Red cards, penalty incidents, VAR was involved as well. Sheffield United did really well to get the penalty in the end that got them the draw. They don't really play good football, Sheffield United. I'm not going to go into what their style is because I don't even know. West Ham do try to play. They do try to squeeze and condense the midfield a lot, which worked to a certain point. But Sheffield United obviously figured it out and then obviously tried to expand the pitch a bit more and get more crosses in, which obviously helped to their penalty and West Ham's detriment, unfortunately. West Ham are in really good form still at the minute, though. Really, really decent form. Still currently top 7 in the Premier League, which is not where I had them start the season. But they're still looking to defy all of the odds as per usual. Sheffield United, I do see going down under Chris Wilder especially. Wilder's a good manager, don't get me wrong. He will probably propel them back up to the Premier League. But their squad is not good enough. It's so wretched from top to bottom. Not a good defence. Don't know how to hold water in the midfield. Strikers, Ollie McBurney, he's got a couple goals a season, but you need someone prolific up there that's going to get you goals on a weekly basis, and Sheffield United just don't have that. So rubbish defence, terrible strikers. It's never going to be a recipe for success, really. Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 4. Formality performance, that one for Liverpool. I expected them to go to Bournemouth. Actually, I expected Bournemouth to put up more of a fight. I actually think I put on one of my bets, Bournemouth to win the game, just based on the fact that both of them at the time had won the most amount of points within the sort of last 2-month period, I think it was. So I thought it would be a better game from Bournemouth, seeing as they were at home, and obviously Liverpool, travelling away from home, you can get them on the off day, but Liverpool were just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Goals from Darwin Núñez twice and Diogo Jota twice as well. Really, really good. And Liverpool are one of those teams now that are starting to adapt every game that they play in. Obviously, Liverpool have been rocked by the news that Jurgen Klopp will be stepping down at the end of the season, which is quite of a sad one, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I'm obviously not a fan of Liverpool, but when someone leaves the Premier League, it's always a sad day, if that makes sense. Obviously, done well for Liverpool, one in the Premier League, one in the Champions League, couple of FA Cups, Carabao Cup as well, Club World Championship. He's had a really, really good run there. Been there for about 8-9 years now. He just said he was tired. He just needs a chance to recharge himself, take himself out of the game for a couple of years, which I don't blame him for. It's a lot with regards to the Premier League jobs. It comes with a lot of pressure. And he's deserved it. He's warranted it. He's put Liverpool back on the map. He's made them title challengers again. Because they were in obscurity before he came, finishing sort of 10th, 11th, 8th. I think I saw them at one point as well. Really terrible positions, but he's come in there, he's galvanised them, and he's got them playing some really good football. Arguably one of the best teams in Europe at the moment as well. Really good manager, and obviously, hopefully, he gets a chance to rest. And yeah, well deserved at Jurgen Klopp. Liverpool still top of the league at the moment by 5 points as well. That's where that put them. And then Brighton versus Wolves, that from the Amex Stadium. Not really much to say about it, as there were no goals, no real goal mouth action, nothing of major importance to really tell you about by way of any of these two teams. Just that they both have a lot of injuries that are coming back. Obviously, a lot of their players are both at Africa Cup of Nations and the Asia Cup as well, and obviously once those players come back, then it should be a bit better. Right, so match day 22 predictions. We are starting tomorrow. That's when the first game is, and that's at 7:30. We've got a few games tomorrow, a couple of games on Wednesday, a couple of games on Thursday, and then go again on the Saturday, which obviously I will go through once I've given you the midweek ones, which is match day 22. We'll start off at the City Ground. That is Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. These night games are going to hit different, and I do envisage goals for every single one of these teams that are playing during this week. I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest, who should have Morgan Gibbs-White back to run the midfield number 10 area. Nottingham Forest did beat Arsenal there last season 1-0. We'll go with a Nottingham Forest win again. We'll go 2-1. We'll go 2-1 Nottingham Forest against Arsenal on that one. I just feel like under the lights, everyone's going to be up for it. It's going to be a quicker game. The pitch is going to be really, really slick. Forest do very well at home in night games as well. It's a really, really good fixture, that one. Luton Town versus Brighton. That's also tomorrow. That's from Kenilworth Road. Luton have done very, very well at home, actually. Last home defeat, obviously, was that Chelsea one, Cole Palmer but I think they'll find Brighton unstuck here. I think Luton are going to take this one. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Luton home win. Big ups to Luton as well, beating Everton again in the FA Cup over the weekend as well. They're through to round 5. Speaking of Everton, they go to Fulham. That's at Craven Cottage. Fulham haven't been in the best of form. And Everton have been travelling very, very well. So that tells me that Everton are going to go there and pick up a result. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Everton win there. Crystal Palace versus Sheffield United. That is from Selhurst Park. That's a Crystal Palace win for me all day long. Elise should be back. Eze should be starting the lineup. I think they've got Jordan Ayew, who's currently away with Ghana on the Africa Cup of Nations, so he should be back fairly soon. I still think Palace have enough to do it. We'll go 2-0 Crystal Palace win there. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. That is from Villa Park. That's an Aston Villa win all day for me. Revenge is on the mind here, I'm guessing, as Newcastle did pummel them 5-1 start of the season at St James's. I think Aston Villa will take this one at 3-1. Manchester City versus Burnley. That's Vincent Kompany going back to his former club in his playing days. Manchester City are at the Etihad, and I've got Manchester City to win this 4-0. Tottenham versus Brentford. These are the Wednesday kickoffs. This is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's a formality win for Tottenham for me. I'm going to go for 3-0 for this one. Tottenham 3, Brentford 0. Liverpool versus Chelsea. That's the biggest game of the week. At Anfield, obviously Jurgen Klopp's cry for everyone to sort of band together for his sort of final run at the moment. I don't see any other result other than Liverpool win here at Anfield. Under the lights, Chelsea going to be overawed. Liverpool will win this game 3-0. West Ham versus Bournemouth. Tough one to call, this one. Bournemouth had a really, really good run, obviously beat by Liverpool last week, but then they ended up beating Swansea 5-0 in the FA Cup at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth are going away to West Ham. Bournemouth do play good football. West Ham are a very, very tough outfit at home. Tells me that'll be a draw. We'll go 1-1 on that one. And then we've got Wolverhampton versus Manchester United from Molineux. Gary O'Neill's men will put Man United to the sword for me. I'm going to go with a shock Wolverhampton win 2-1 on that one. Yeah. We'll go with that. So that's my predictions for the week. The next video that I'll do will probably be on like a Friday night / Saturday morning, where we kick off from Goodison Park, and that's my beloved guys. Spurs will be at Everton to open up that weekend. But I'll give you another video sort of Saturday morning. Yeah, as I said before, take as much rest as you guys need if you need it. Mental strength is obviously something that we all need. I needed it. I needed to take my head out of the stresses of everything in life in general and just sort of look after myself. So it's always needed. Take a detox. Enjoy your games. There are FA Cup games tonight. I believe it's Blackburn that are in action tonight. Blackburn versus Wrexham, I believe it is. That'll be a really good cup tie. And yeah, enjoy the Premier League throughout the week. And I'll speak to you in the next week or so. Be good. In a bit.